He built a hotel, 3 stories, dozens of rooms, right across from his pharmacy in Chicago. Guests checked in, but they never checked out. The rooms had no windows. Doors opened to brick walls. Secret passages led to torture chambers. A basement crematorium burned the evidence. And during the 1893 World's Fair, young women arrived by the hundreds, excited, hopeful. They disappeared into his building and were never seen again. This is the story of H.H. Holmes, America's first serial killer, the man who built a murder castle and possibly killed over 200 people. This is dark true crime, where we investigate the monsters history tried to forget. Hit subscribe because this story will haunt you. May 16, 1861, Gilmanton, New Hampshire. Herman Webster Mudgett is born into a wealthy Methodist family. His parents are strict, devout, demanding total obedience. His father is an alcoholic, a harsh disciplinarian. He uses physical punishment, food deprivation, isolation. When young Herman cries, his father holds kerosene-soaked rags over his mouth to quiet him. Herman learns to hide his emotions, to appear calm, obedient, normal, but inside, something is broken. As a child, Herman is fascinated by death. He traps animals in the forest near his home, performs crude surgeries on them, dissects them, studies their anatomy. Some accounts suggest he killed a childhood playmate, but this was never proven. At 16, Herman becomes a school teacher. He's intelligent, charismatic, ambitious. In 1884, he enrolls at the University of Michigan Medical School, and that's where his criminal career truly begins. At medical school, Herman discovers a lucrative scheme. He and a professor steal corpses from the university morgue. They sell them to medical schools. But Herman goes further. He takes out life insurance policies on fictional people, then uses stolen corpses to fake their deaths, claims the insurance money. It works, again and again. In 1886, Herman leaves Michigan, changes his name to Dr. Henry Howard Holmes, moves to Chicago, takes a job as a pharmacist. The pharmacy owner, an elderly woman, recently widowed. Her husband had just died. Holmes is charming, helpful. He offers to buy the pharmacy from her. She agrees, sells him the business, and then she vanishes. No one ever sees her again. Holmes now owns the pharmacy, and he has plans, big plans. In 1887, he purchases an empty lot across the street, begins construction on a 3-story building. He tells people it will be a hotel, a boarding house for World's Fair visitors. The 1893 Chicago World's Columbian Exposition is coming. Millions of tourists will flood the city. Holmes sees opportunity. But this won't be an ordinary hotel. Holmes hires different contractors for different parts of the building. None of them see the full design. He fires workers constantly, replaces them, so no one understands what he's really building. The building opens in 1888. The ground floor, shops, and his pharmacy. The second floor, his personal office and guest rooms. The third floor, more rooms, over 100 rooms total. But these aren't normal rooms. Some have no windows, no ventilation, airtight. Others have doors that open to brick walls, staircases that lead nowhere, secret passages, trapdoors, chutes that drop to the basement. The rooms have gas lines installed. Holmes can pump gas into sealed rooms from his office, suffocate guests while they sleep. Other rooms have alarms that alert Holmes when someone tries to escape. The walls are soundproofed. Screams don't carry. In the basement, a surgical table, torture devices, an acid vat large enough to dissolve a human body, a crematorium, a massive furnace. This isn't a hotel. It's a killing machine, a murder castle. And Holmes is ready. The 1893 World's Fair opens. 27 million people visit Chicago over 6 months. The city is overwhelmed. Hotels are full. Young women arrive from across America, looking for work, adventure, romance. Many are alone, far from family, perfect victims. Holmes places advertisements. Hotel rooms available, female guests preferred. They come, young, trusting, excited about the fair. Holmes greets them personally, charming, well-dressed, a respected businessman. He offers them jobs, working in his pharmacy, in his shops, managing the hotel. They accept, move into the building, and then they disappear. The pattern is always the same. A young woman checks in. Holmes pays attention to her, flatters her, sometimes proposes marriage. He learns about her family, where she's from, whether anyone will come looking for her. If she has no close ties, no family nearby, she becomes a target. One night, she goes to her room. Holmes locks the door from outside, pumps gas through the pipes. She falls unconscious. He enters the room. Sometimes he kills them immediately. Sometimes he experiments. Medical procedures, torture, dissection. When he's done, the body goes down the chute, to the basement, into the acid, or the furnace. Evidence destroyed. Julia Connor, a beautiful young woman who worked in Holmes's pharmacy. She had a daughter, Pearl. Holmes seduced Julia, made her his mistress. When she became pregnant with his child, he performed an abortion. It went wrong. Julia died. Holmes killed Pearl too. Disposed of both bodies. Emmeline Cigrand, 24 years old. She came to Chicago for the World's Fair. Holmes hired her as his stenographer, fell in love with her, but Emmeline rejected him. She had a fiancé back home. 2 weeks after starting work, Emmeline vanished. Her body was never found. Minnie Williams, a wealthy woman from Texas. Holmes seduced her, convinced her to deed her property to him, then killed her. Her sister Anna came to Chicago looking for Minnie. Holmes killed her too. The exact number of victims is unknown. Holmes later confessed to 27 murders, but investigators found remains of many more. Some estimate 200 victims, maybe more. The World's Fair ends in October 1893. The flood of tourists stops. Holmes's killing spree slows, but he needs money, always money. In 1894, Holmes and his accomplice Benjamin Petezel devise a new scheme: insurance fraud. They take out a $10,000 life insurance policy on Petezel. The plan: fake Petezel's death, split the money. But Holmes has a different idea. Why fake it? Why share? In September 1894, Holmes kills Petezel for real, sets his body on fire, makes it look like an accident, claims the insurance money. Then Holmes does something truly evil. He convinces Petezel's widow that her husband is still alive, hiding. He offers to take 3 of her children, Howard, Alice, and Nellie, to reunite them with their father. She trusts him, gives him her children. Holmes takes the children on a journey across America, but they're not going to their father. Their father is dead. In Indianapolis, Holmes rents a house, takes young Howard Petezel to the basement, locks him in a trunk, seals it. The boy suffocates, slowly, in agony. Holmes buries him in the basement. Then he takes Alice and Nellie to Toronto, Canada, rents another house, poisons both girls, buries them in the cellar. 3 children, dead, for no reason, just because Holmes could. But Holmes makes a mistake. Marion Hedgepeth, a criminal Holmes met in jail, becomes suspicious. He tells police about Holmes's insurance scam. Detective Frank Geyer begins investigating. In November 1894, police arrest Holmes in Boston. They charge him with insurance fraud. As detectives investigate, they discover the murders. The children. Petezel. They search the murder castle in Chicago. What they find is beyond comprehension. In the basement, they discover bones, 17 ribs, vertebrae, jaw bones with teeth, a woman's dress soaked in blood, surgical instruments. They find quicklime pits, used to dissolve flesh, trapdoors, secret passages, gas pipes leading to sealed rooms. The full horror becomes clear. Holmes's trial begins in October 1895. He's charged with murdering Benjamin Petezel. The evidence is overwhelming. Witnesses testify. Forensic evidence is presented. Holmes sits calmly, shows no emotion. The jury deliberates for 2.5 hours. Guilty. Sentence: death by hanging. While awaiting execution, Holmes writes a confession. Claims he killed 27 people. Later, he retracts it. Says he killed only 2 women, both during illegal abortions. He's lying, always lying. Even at the end, May 7, 1896, Moyamensing Prison, Philadelphia. Holmes walks to the gallows, calm, composed, unconcerned. His last words: "I was born with the devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer, no more than a poet can help the inspiration to sing." The trapdoor opens. Holmes drops. His neck doesn't break cleanly. He struggles, twitches, suffocates slowly. Takes 15 minutes to die, the same way many of his victims died. Poetic justice. Holmes is buried in Holy Cross Cemetery. His casket is filled with cement, 2 feet of cement over the grave. Holmes was terrified of grave robbers, of his own body being dissected. The irony is profound. The murder castle stood in Chicago until 1938, eventually demolished. No marker exists today, just an ordinary post office. But the legend lives on. H. Holmes, America's first documented serial killer. The man who built a torture palace disguised as a hotel, who killed for profit, for pleasure, for no reason at all. If this case disturbed you, leave a comment. Tell me, how did Holmes get away with it for so long? Why didn't anyone notice? And if you want more stories about history's darkest criminals, hit that subscribe button. Next video, the Axeman of New Orleans, a serial killer who demanded the city play jazz music or he would kill again. Thanks for watching Dark True Crime. Some monsters walk among us, wearing suits, smiling, charming, and we never see them coming. Remember, the murder castle was a real place. Holmes was a real person, and over 200 people walked into his building and never walked out.